Hi, I'm John Pignano, and this is our Focus RS 2017 Sema build. It's our Colin McRae tribute.
I'm Max Sigwart. This is my 2018 Focus RS Limited. I pretty much built this car to go autocrossing and chase down some Porsches.
And you're watching ANSWRD.
My favorite thing about my Focus RS is for a very low budget vehicle, I can chase down hyper and supercars at the autocross events.
Favorite thing about the Focus RS, it's pretty much like my Ironman suit. It's everything I've wanted to build in a car. It reflects what I've done.
My least favorite thing about the Focus RS is it's not really a great daily driver. The gas mileage is horrible, about 19 miles per gallon.
My least favorite thing about the Focus RS is that they discontinued it.
My modifications on my RS include a Mountune B7 upgrade, aluminum radiator, R1 Concepts brakes, Rally Innovations complete R4S kit, lowering springs, tint, and a few other custom features.
Our Sema build's quite a team effort. We worked with a lot of companies like Optima Batteries, Baja Designs, Nitto, Turbo Smart, Borla, DBA, iBach, HPI, Montune, OZ Racing, RSR Sparco Autometer, Cobb, and Ford Performance. The unique thing about this build is we got to work hand in hand with Ford Design in designing all of our aero parts.
All right, so that both feels great. How much more power is your RS making than stock?
Probably about maybe a little bit more than 50 more than stock, so I'm just probably a little bit over 400 horsepower.
Gotcha. And is that due to multiple modifications, or is that as simple to get as just getting on access port and getting a tuner to build a tune for your car?
Mainly the Mountune with the access port and Randy Robles tune.
Gotcha. And then John, how much power is your car making?
Our car is making about the same. We have pretty close mods, the Montune mods, also tuned, but ours is tuned by JST Stage 3. I think it's about 380 at the wheels, which is maybe a little over 410 at the flywheel.
Nice. Is there a difference in the power or the mapping when you go through the various drive modes? I know there's a drive mode button right by the shifter, and also you have a heated steering wheel in this car, just wanted to mention, which is very fancy for an autocross vehicle. Does it get more aggressive, or is it easier to drive in the various modes, or is it just, you know, with the tune it's all the same?
Well, I noticed in sport mode, you could definitely feel more the aggressive nature of the car, regardless tune or no tune. In drift mode, track mode, there's even more aggressive pull on that. So I think when the tuners actually tune the RS, it adds to each of the different modes. It's not like it overrides anything.
And how's the car in terms of drivability? Max, I know you drive it literally every single day. You have over 40,000 miles on the car now? I see 41,000.
Yeah, 41,000 miles. Still going.
How is it as a daily driver, other than the fuel efficiency? Is it easy to drive?
Initially, having the factory springs in there, I noticed a really bad oscillation on the freeway. So I put the Mountune springs in there, which are made by iBach, and it got rid of the bounce, so it made it a much better drive. I just wanted it a little bit lower because, as everybody knows, a factory vehicle equipped with stock springs, it looks like a 4x4.
Yeah.
So I wanted to close the wheel gap a little bit and give it a little bit more of a performance edge. I've always run iBach in pretty much everything I've owned because the progressive rate springs, it's nice to ride in normal mode. It's not as bouncy after the springs, and then when you go to the track and dive into a corner, it stiffens up and keeps the tires down.
Yeah, and what is your wheel and tire setup now? Max, we'll start with you, and then John, I want to hear about your wheels and tires as well.
For the track setup, I have a set of Titan 7s with Bridgestone RE71Rs, which are 200 tread wear. We couldn't go any lower than that for the NMCA West Autocross.
What wheels are on the Sema build?
On the Sema build right now are the OZ Super Turismo WRC. It is actually one of a kind from OZ. They did a custom color and offset just for the Focus RS ST for that Sema build. They don't come in white, so OZ was nice enough to actually have it powder coat white from the factory.
Nice.
We're running NT01s on that, so it's a very sticky track tire.
Yeah.
The street setup, we have OZ rally wheels in 18s, so we went down a size. But we're running the Nitto G2 NT55s. That's a good all-around setup. You know, if you want a street legal tire and also you want to say the every weekend track event.
Yeah, cool. And then we'll hop into two more main things. If we can get a little second gear pull or just go around this corner so we can see what the RS is like. Go ahead. That is awesome. It sounds great. It feels really good. Both of you experienced for years the Focus ST before this, and Max, for you is a big part of, you know, deciding to just jump up into an RS instead of putting more and more money into the ST. What is the big difference that people will feel if they go from an ST into an RS, or at what point would you recommend that someone, you know, decide between the two? Because I know it happens a lot, right? There are guys who can afford the ST, or they can really stretch and get an RS. What do you guys recommend for people who are in that sort of predicament?
For me, the ST was similar to my 92 Mustang that I had. It was a great lower budget build to start off with that you can do multiple things with. And then the RS came out, and for autocross, my ST was set up with coilovers and stage 3 tune and exhaust and pretty much everything you could do to it. And it felt like I was focusing more on my driver mod because I couldn't go any further.
Yeah.
So the RS came out, and I was getting frustrated with the ST because I couldn't get it to drive any faster than it was doing. And they stuck me in the compact class, which was fun because I'd go up against Miatas and other similar hot hatches, and I would place either first or second, which was great. But then the RS came out and they put them in the compact class, and that was a humbling experience because there were two cars out there, and they were running 5 seconds faster than everybody else out there. Other compact guys were complaining that that was an unfair advantage because they had all-wheel drive and it was more power.
Yeah.
But I kept trying to reel in the RS, and I got within maybe a second and a half of the RS, and I realized I couldn't go any faster without crashing. So I decided to, well, my friend with the RS says, do you want to take this car out? I said, absolutely. He goes, you're really killing it with your ST. I think you'd be better off in an RS.
Yeah.
And I went about a second faster than the guy's fastest time the first lap out, which was great. And he took the keys away from me and said, now go get your own. So I decided, since the 2018 was the last year of production, that now is the time to pull the trigger. Initially taking the drive in a stock one, it felt like a pig because the boost was not kicking in until about 4,000 RPM. And once it did, it was like, okay, now we're talking.
Yeah.
And then the work started happening. After 1,000 miles, I started doing the mods and took it out to the track and really had some fun. It was a unique experience getting used to the two-wheel front-wheel drive, pulling your way out of a situation, so your lines were different.
Yeah.
And then the RS was pretty much getting used to trusting the all-wheel drive and your tires. And then obviously upgrading brakes so you can go faster and brake later. And once that happened, I was knocking 3 to 5 seconds off of my time and started to really get into the other vehicles that they put in our class. They threw me in a sports car class, so I'd have to go up against Porsche GT3 RSs, Lamborghini Murcielagos.
Wow.
And these guys are out there for kill, and they do this pretty much 75% of the time.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh great, so I have to go up against supercars and hypercars. So that's when I started removing interior pieces and anything I really didn't need. And I got within 0.2 of a second of them, so I knew I was going in the right direction.
Wow. And John, I want to ask you, what's the biggest difference that you feel between the ST and the RS? And if someone came to you and said, hey, you know, I want to start with the basic mods on my RS, what would you recommend to them?
I think basic mods is actually get to know your RS first, because just my philosophy is you want to get a good driving experience with a car from a base map model. I would say if you wanted to do something, maybe go suspension wise first. The stock RS suspension is not as tight from the factory as it can be. We're running a set of RSR Sports Eye coilovers on ours. It gives it a little bit better feedback when you're on the track. even on the daily drive, it's pretty comfortable as well. So I would say suspension-wise, because the RS has quite a bit of power. I think Max agrees with me on that, you know, just from the stock box. So I think for me, just get to the all-wheel drive, get used to that, because a lot of people are coming from the ST, and like you're asking Ben, if why would you not just mod your ST more and make it like an RS? You might be spending a lot more money doing that. I would just say to get used to the all-wheel drive feeling and how that feels, and if that's your route, then go that. They're both excellent cars.
And what is the biggest difference, John, between how your car feels versus Max's car? Or is it more aesthetic in the seats than anything? And are they pretty similar cars? Would you say they're like brothers or cousins?
I would say they're fraternal brothers in a sense, like fraternal twins.
Yeah.
Mine's more the skinny. I'm physically skinnier too. But Max's has more of the plush. He still has the stock Recaros, which I like, you know, for a daily. You can't beat these Recaro seats for that ride. Mine's running the Sparco Evo 2 seats. Comfortable seat, but not for everybody.
Comfortable seat, but you know, getting in and out, and
with the harnesses, not very daily, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I'm used to the performance mentality, so it's comfortable for me. But I think to each his own. Again, people fix up their cars the way that they feel comfortable in.
Yeah. And John, if you could do one more modification to the RS that you have, what would you do to it? It's blank check, you can do whatever you want, but only one thing, what would it be?
Would it require, if I could build another RS the same and make it off-road?
Okay, that's fair. All right, great answer actually. And if you could trade your RS for any car, like if someone came up to you and said, hey, I have this blank car, I'll trade you for the RS, what would it have to be for you to trade it?
It would have to be Colin McRae's R4, the original inspiration of the RS that we built for Sema.
Gotcha. And Max, what about for you? What's the next mod if you had a blank check just for one mod? What would you trade this car for?
That would be hard for just one mod. I guess now that I'm past my warranty, I can pretty much do anything I want. So I think if I only had to do one, I'd go with a larger 6-piston front brake.
Okay. And the car trade?
Car trade would be kind of tough. When I was initially shopping for the RS, I was looking at quite a few other vehicles. The Audi RS4, but I didn't want to pay for the expensive maintenance. I think the best all-around car right now for the dollar, which I don't have, would be the McLaren 7 Series.